It's just hard being, a parent, being a mother, being a father, and we are human. We're all human. I often hear people in therapy talking about, how either themselves or their children, well, we just need to get to this thing, or we have to be like that family. That family has it all together. I can tell you, no family has it all together. Let's just be real, right? So, and take the pressure off because, most of the time we're all doing the best we can. Welcome back to the Parenting Pair podcast. I'm Dr. Annalise Karen.
And I'm Dr. Suzanne Allen.
And today I'm wearing a bright electric blue sweatshirt for our listeners who aren't watching on YouTube that says nap. And do you know why I'm wearing the sweatshirt, Suzanne? Because I need a nap. I'm exhausted.
I am so tired. I actually just Googled the other day when I was at work in between sessions, why am I so tired all of the time?
Did it give you an answer?
I mean, perimenopause, menopause, stress. It gave me about 15 answers, and all of them are true. So I don't know which one to address, and I don't have the energy to address any of them. So I'm still in the same spot I was.
Well, this is actually why I'm wearing this sweatshirt and why we're doing this podcast a little rogue with really no plan besides a larger theme, which is because there have been a couple of times recently where people have sort of suggested or been surprised when I've acknowledged that maybe I don't have something all together, or maybe I'm really exhausted, or maybe I'm not quite sure how to handle something. And they're like, and people have said like, oh my gosh, or I acknowledged a mistake. And, oh my gosh, you? I thought with this idea that I would know exactly what to do. Mm-hmm. That because I'm a psychologist and because I, work with kids and teens that, my kids, I have it all together. I know exactly what to do for them at every moment and this and that. I'm telling you, some of the time, no human is like that, but some of the time for me, I don't know what is going on. And I think what inspired me to text Suzanne and say, I think we should just go rogue on this podcast and share what's going on in our lives a little bit and be real is because though we dress up each week and share our professional expertise, which we believe in and call on and live.
I like the way you said we dress up each week. Like we come here to pretend.
Well, kind of, because if my children, as soon as I get home from work, I'm immediately an entirely different appearing person. Yeah. And this nap sweatshirt may be part of that vision. But what inspired me to just have our podcast this week be like this was, Suzanne, when you came into the office today, do you want to share your day yesterday?
Oh, yes. Yes, I would be happy to.
Please.
So I had to be somewhere before going into the office. I had to run a couple errands, do a few things. So I went to go get into my truck. And as I was backing up, my truck is old and hasn't been working, and I haven't fixed some things in it, even though I promise I've tried, but my rear camera's not working well. And then my husband tried to be helpful and installed some kind of alternative rear camera, but I have to shout at it all the time and say, turn screen on. And I have to say it the right way. So it's like, turn screen on, turn screen on. Turn. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Yesterday, it wouldn't work either, and it would only show me the camera going off the front. So I could see through my windshield the front,
but you couldn't.
And through my rearview mirror, the front of my car. So now I'm backing up down my driveway, and as I'm backing up and just trying to look at the side mirrors and make sure no one's coming up.
And I hope you're looking over your back shoulder like we were taught when we learned to drive, Suzanne.
Oh, I was looking every which direction. But then I also noticed that all my recycling and garbage was still sitting out, and I have to say I got momentarily distracted by the recycling because I'm really convinced that the recycling guy hates me. And this has been long-standing. And he breaks things, and I know he hates me. And so anyways, the recycling hasn't picked up. No, it's real. I promise you it's real.
You told me that he skipped your house and that you think he skips your house because he hates you.
Yes.
But I don't understand how it could be that the recycling guy would hate you.
Sometimes we have a lot of recycling.
Okay.
And my husband doesn't break down the boxes. And then also we use those mesh and plastic holders that you hold your pool toys in?
Yes.
Well, I have an old one, and I use that to hold my recycling. And I can fully acknowledge that probably when you go to pick that up to dump recycling into the back of the car, it just breaks apart and falls because it's made of PVC pipe and mesh.
So
again, this is a long list of issues of things that probably I should be addressing, but I have not yet addressed because I haven't had time to address it.
Suzanne's not entirely on top of everything. right?
Yes. And so as I was looking every which direction and none of my cameras were working, and then I got distracted thinking about how I could make the recycling guy like me more, which included recently I just overtipped him during the holidays.
Which makes no sense because he skips your house.
And he skipped it during the holidays, but I think he came and got the tip. And so the long and the short is I was distracted, and as I pulled back out of the driveway, looking side to side to make sure there were no cars coming in either way, I had a momentary lapse and didn't look directly behind me. And there was a grocery delivery truck parked directly behind my driveway, and I backed into his truck, damaging significantly my car, not his whatsoever, which I was grateful for. We had a lovely conversation. Then I swept up all the parts, and then I wound up talking to him for a while about how my day was going.
And when you got out of your car and were about to talk to him, what also happened? Because you shared this story with me.
Gosh, you're right. So then as I got out of the car after hitting him and I see him just standing there looking at me dazed, like, what is this woman doing? My phone starts to ring, and I look at it as I'm getting out of the car, and it's a client's parent who was in the middle of a tough situation and was calling me for advice. And I just started to laugh because the whole thing was so absurd. And I thought, like, if I should answer this and be like, sorry, I just hit someone's car.
Right.
Like, how can I help you? But I thought, this person is calling me for advice. Maybe I'm not the person anyone should be calling for advice because I didn't fix my truck and I'm so worried about the recycling guy who hates me. And then I forgot to look behind me and I just hit a grocery delivery truck.
And in that moment, what was the emotion that you felt, Suzanne? She wasn't expecting that question.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I felt totally out of control, but I wanted to laugh maniacally just because the whole thing felt so ridiculous. And then I actually wanted to just walk back up into my house and lay on the couch and turn on the TV and be done with my day. And yet I had appointments. I had to get into work.
Yeah.
I had a number of things that had to get done.
So Suzanne came into work yesterday and shared this story with me and looked a little frazzled, but of course was perfectly dressed for work and blah, 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 blah. And then, I heard the door open to our office suite, and then she politely walked away and said, oh, hello, come right in. And so we highlight this story, and I have a few more for you because, it's just hard. It's just hard being, a parent, being a mother, being a father, for the fathers listening, for the women listening, those of you in your late 40s to mid 50s, going through perimenopause and menopause. I am so tired. I am forgetful. I am making bad decisions, and we are human. We're all human. I often hear people in therapy talking about, how either themselves or their children, well, we just need to get to this thing, or we have to be like that family. That family has it all together. I can tell you, no family has it all together. And for those of you watching on YouTube, you can see this pyramid to my right. And for those of you who aren't watching on YouTube, it's a pyramid of 18 pet teeth cleaning finger wipes, okay? And the reason I have 18 pet teeth finger cleaning wipes is because I ordered them on what I thought was Amazon, but it turns out it wasn't, and I thought I bought one. Why? Because my dog has terrible breath. Bodhi has terrible breath. And I knew that I wasn't taking care of his teeth, but I didn't know you had to take care of dogs' teeth. This wasn't on my radar. And the veterinarian said you need to be brushing his teeth. So I tried to buy one pet teeth cleaning finger wipes, but it ends up that I didn't buy it from Amazon. I bought it from somewhere else, and I bought it on subscription. And they come 6 at a time, and I can't stop it. And so I went.
Because you don't know how?
Because I don't know how.
You can't remember.
And I became so tired and forlorn in December. I thought I'll just deal with that in January. And 6 more arrived yesterday. And so Suzanne got in her accident, and I've got all these pet teeth finger cleaning wipes. And the thing about it is my dog's teeth got so bad because I don't take care of him. He's 9.5, and he's a love. He's a 40-pound Tibetan Terrier. And I adore this guy. And I took him to the vet in December, which I was amazed I made the appointment, and they said these teeth have to go. So then he had to have surgery right before Christmas to remove his teeth. And now he doesn't have front teeth, and his little tongue hangs outside his mouth. And I'm sitting here with 18 pet teeth cleaning finger wipes. And so I went on Facebook because there's a Facebook group in the town that I'm from where you can share things for free. And I thought, there's probably some people in the world that need this. And so I went there, 54 replies. There are 54 people that want these.
Now, how are you going to do that?
Right. How do I decide who gets them? Well, anyway, then this was right before Christmas. A member of my family got ill and I dropped it. So I told them I would give them away. I haven't done it yet. I still have the subscription. I tell you, by next week's podcast, I'm going to figure out how to end this subscription. But
this is a good thing to do. Sometimes when you commit things out loud to other people, it does help you get it done.
yeah,
Not always.
not always,
But that's a good strategy. We're throwing that in there. That's a freebie.
But the point is, and life is hard. And
Yes.
the pet teeth finger cleaning wipes, I mean, I recently, not recently, within the last 4 months, the dog is reminding me of this. I was running late for work, and no one would know this. No one would know this. They come to the office. Oh, hello, come right in. Oh, it's so nice to see you. Come right in. And I mean that. And I really love my work.
Yep.
But I was headed to work, and we had a chaotic morning at home, and one of my kids had a lot going on, and we got out to school late, and it was a whole thing, and I was late for work. And so I called that client and I said, I'm so sorry. And I didn't lie, because when I called, I was on the road and I was in some traffic. I did make it appear as though I was going to be 5 to 6 minutes late because I was in some traffic. I was actually going to be 5 to 6 minutes late because I was behind, because my life was chaotic that morning. I didn't say that, but I had the dog with me because one day a week, which is a very privileged thing to say, my dog goes to doggy daycare. And so the dog was in the back. I took him to doggy daycare, and guess what? The doggy daycare was closed. And guess what? Every time the doggy daycare people go on vacation, it's the last weekend in August, and it's about the 3rd or 4th week of January every year. They go skiing and they bring their daughter to college every year. This has been the case for the past 5 years. Every single year, and every year I bring him. So the dog was in the car. I'm now 6 minutes late. I bring him to doggy daycare, and the daycare's closed. Now to go back home, I'm going to add 20 minutes to this situation. So now I've lied to my client because it's traffic and I'm going to be 5 to 6 minutes late. But actually now I have a dog with me and I have a choice. If I go home, I'm 20 minutes back, and 20 minutes back, I'm going to be 40 minutes late for a 45-minute session. So I drive to work with the dog in the car. And I texted my husband and I said, I'm sorry that you're in a meeting. You're going to have to come get the dog. And I did half my session with the dog. I mean, and I highlighted as he saw me with the dog, and he was so nice. I said, I'm trying to show you that no one has it all together.
This was actually a planned lesson.
This is, and we're being funny here.
Yeah.
But that day, I was really stressed out. Suzanne yesterday was holding
Yeah.
it.
And I felt very fortunate that I hadn't hurt anyone. I think afterwards, after the shock and kind of the ridiculous of it, later in the day, I definitely had a few moments where I felt really scared and overwhelmed and felt like I was so distracted. God forbid that had been a person that had been like, it was very frightening to me that I had been so overwhelmed, distracted, that had taken place. So we are laughing about it now. And you were so great with me, making me laugh at yesterday and kind of, putting that in its place of where it needed to go. But often these moments feel really, really awful and overwhelming. And when I did Google that, why am I so tired? It was actually, I'd noticed a number of signs and things that I was really feeling increasingly worried about my fatigue and just about other things and with little kind of idea of what I could do to try to make it better. And a lot of people are struggling, and this is all really hard. And so I think that's why we just wanted to talk about this, because
let's just be real, right? So and take the pressure off, and if you've got a nap sweatshirt or any sweatshirt, just throw it on, and every now and again just try to drop the pressure on yourself, because most of the time we're all doing the best we can. Right?
Yep.
And we may be able to shift some things, and I haven't brought the dog to the office since, and I'm making a commitment that by next week,
someone is going to be very lucky.
a lot of people, because I have 54 people asked.
Oh, you're going to dole it out?
I'm going to dole it out.
Oh,
that I need to give away the pet finger cleaning wipes. Anyway,
and be nice to each other because like your client was very gracious about you bringing the dog.
I felt so
yesterday.
embarrassed and yet so grateful.
You made me laugh. I actually I felt so grateful for that a client of mine who I knew was struggling with some things, I just kind of sent her a message reminding her of a few things, but then put at the end, like, you're doing a really great job. This is hard. Because I felt like I wanted to just give that to someone else, like that acknowledgement.
Yeah.
That it's hard.
Absolutely. So I think our what now is
be nice to yourself, be nice to other people.
Try to laugh and take the pressure off. We're all just doing the best we can.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, I would say rate and review, but people might give us lower ratings. So
just like drive safe and check your Amazon account.
And be sure to check your pet's teeth. I guess oral hygiene matters.
Bodhi.
I know. All right, everybody.
All right.
We'll see you next week.
Hang in there. Bye.